Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Everything that once felt heavy, leave it behind. This moment is yours. It belongs to no one else. The worries of yesterday are gone, and the expectations of tomorrow have no power over you now. In this stillness, you're about to connect with something truly life-changing. Many people repeat affirmations every morning like a routine, but they forget what Neville Goddard taught. Words have no power without feeling. Words spoken without belief are just noise. But when you feel your affirmations, when you let them become your identity, your reality starts to bend. Your world begins to shift in ways you didn't expect. Neville didn't see affirmations as simple positive thinking. He saw them as tools, precise instruments that, when used with imagination and conviction, could reshape the world around you. In this video, you'll not only hear powerful morning affirmations based on Neville Goddard's teachings, you'll feel them. These are not ordinary phrases. These are mental seeds, each one carrying the potential to transform your entire day and, over time, your entire life. And the way they work may surprise you. By the end of this video, you'll understand how each word you say, when aligned with belief and inner stillness, begins to form the life you desire. You'll learn how to stop chasing and start assuming, how to stop doubting and start becoming. Most people have no idea that their imagination, when fused with emotion, is the hidden author of every chapter in their life. Neville uncovered this truth through years of deep personal practice and transformation. What he discovered is that the mind is not just a mirror, it's a projector, and every morning, the thoughts you accept as true are what the day will reflect back to you. If you say, "I am abundant," but feel fear, the result will match the feeling, not the words. That's why in this video, we'll guide you not just to speak the words, but to embody them, to feel them as if they are already true. You will repeat affirmations that activate Neville's most potent principles, assuming the wish fulfilled, living in the end, trusting the unseen, and becoming the operant power. But more than that, you will experience how it feels to start your day right, not just with positivity, but with power, with clarity, with alignment. Every word will be layered with intention, and as the affirmations unfold, you'll notice something shift, not just around you, but within you. And that's exactly why you need to stay with us until the end of this video. Because toward the end, we'll guide you into a short yet powerful pause, a space where silence meets certainty, where thought becomes form. You'll walk away not just motivated, but changed. You'll feel lighter, clearer, and more aligned with your higher identity. That's not hype. That's the process Neville devoted his life to teaching, and now it's your turn to live it. Welcome to Ignis Mindset, where ancient truths meet modern minds. If you find this video helpful, or even if one affirmation resonates deeply, please take a moment to like and subscribe. We're here to walk with you every step of the way as you unlock the power of your own consciousness. This is not just a channel, it's a journey. Let's begin. Before we talk about the affirmations themselves, it's important to understand what makes an affirmation work. Neville Goddard always emphasized this. It is not the words that hold the power, but the consciousness behind them. Anyone can repeat a sentence, but to say it and know it as true, that is what transforms your world. You are not trying to convince life. You are convincing yourself. Because once you do, life has no choice but to follow. The first affirmation is perhaps the most misunderstood, yet the most powerful. I am the only operant power in my world. Think about that. Not one of many powers, not one influence among others. The only operant power. Neville said that everything you experience begins and ends within your own consciousness. No outside force decides your destiny. No person, no system, no condition has the final say. Only you. This affirmation is not about arrogance. It's about responsibility. If you are the only operant power, it means there is no one left to blame, but also no one you must wait on to change. That's freedom. When you truly accept this, you stop reacting to the world and start creating it. You stop waiting for permission. You begin to act, speak, and feel from a place of inner certainty. By repeating, I am the only operant power in my world, you are reminding yourself that your assumptions shape your outcomes. Your inner dialogue writes your future. If you assume difficulty, you create it. If you assume favor, ease, and joy, you draw it in. The outside reflects the inside, and the inside is fully under your authority. Now let's move to the second affirmation. I live in the end. I assume it is already done. This is the heart of Neville Goddard's method. Living in the end doesn't mean you ignore the present. It means you mentally reside in the reality where your desire is already fulfilled. You don't hope, you don't beg, you dwell in the state where it's already yours. Neville taught that imagining creates reality, and the secret is to imagine from the end, not towards it. If you want love, feel loved. If you want abundance, feel abundant. If you want success, feel the certainty of having already succeeded. When you repeat, I live in the end, you are training your mind to stop seeking and start assuming. You are no longer an observer. You become a participant in the reality you wish to enter. The imagination must be guided by feeling. Neville said, to feel a thing intensely and then, in a little while, to become aware of its reality. This is the way of all seeming miracles. So when you say the affirmation, I assume it is already done, say it not with desperation, but with quiet confidence, not to make it happen, but because it already has within you. And then there is the third affirmation, which brings everything back to center. I am calm, centered, and in control of my inner world. It may seem simple, but it is the foundation of everything. Without inner peace, manifestation becomes frantic. Without mental control, the imagination is scattered. Neville often reminded us that the outer world is a mirror, and the chaotic mirror reflects only chaos. You do not control people. You do not need to. What you must master is your own mind, your reactions, your beliefs, your inner conversations. When the outer world looks uncertain, return to this affirmation. Say it slowly. Say it while breathing deeply. I am calm, centered, and in control of my inner world. And you'll feel the shift. Not instantly, perhaps, but steadily. When you are calm, you can feel the wish fulfilled with greater clarity. When you are centered, you are not thrown off by appearances. And when you are in control of your inner world, the outer world begins to obey the image you hold within. Neville didn't teach passivity. He taught dominion over self. And from that dominion, everything flows. Think of it like this. The first affirmation claims your authority. The second chooses your destination. And the third secures your foundation. Together, they're not just positive statements. They're a complete structure of being, a blueprint for living consciously, deliberately, and creatively. As you go through these affirmations, don't rush them. Feel the words as if they were written on your heart. Let the meaning rise from the silence. Neville always pointed back to the unseen, to the feeling, to the imagination. He never asked us to wait. He asked us to believe, to assume, and then to rest in the knowing that it is done. Because when you truly believe you are the only operant power, when you genuinely live in the end, when you consistently return to peace within, your reality cannot help but reflect that truth back to you. My imagination creates my reality. Few affirmations capture Neville Goddard's teachings more completely than this one. To Neville, imagination is not a passive tool or a fleeting daydream. It is the very source of creation itself. The world you experience externally is born in the secret places of your mind. This means your ability to imagine is not simply for entertainment. It is the spiritual act of becoming. What you see with your physical eyes is the echo of what you've already entertained within. When you affirm, my imagination creates my reality, you are awakening the inner artist, the conscious creator within. It's a call to remember that you are never a victim of circumstances, but rather a projector of them. If the imagination is allowed to run wild with fear, doubt, and limitation, the outer world follows suit. But if the imagination is harnessed and directed with vision, clarity, and emotional conviction, the same law that once worked against you now begins to work for you. Neville often repeated, imagine vividly, feel deeply, and assume fully. Don't simply see the scene in your mind. Step into it. Smell the air. Feel the texture of the surroundings. Let your heart respond as if it were real, because the deeper the feeling, the more potent the creation. You aren't just visualizing, you're participating. Your imagination is not make-believe. It's the dress rehearsal for reality. Then there is the affirmation. I trust the unseen process. It is already done. This may be the most challenging for many, not because it's difficult to say, but because it requires the surrender of control. Neville's work was always a balance of assumption and trust. You assume the state of the wish fulfilled, and then you trust the process without interference. You don't check the soil every hour to see if the seed has grown. You plant the seed and you know it's working in silence. Trusting the unseen process means letting go of the timeline. It means refusing to doubt because the result hasn't yet shown up in your physical world. Neville said, the world is yourself pushed out, but what you see now is only a reflection of who you were, not who you are becoming. There is a delay, not because the law is slow, but because time itself is part of the unfolding. You've changed the cause. The effect must follow, but it will do so on its own terms. Repeat the affirmation, not just with your voice, but with your inner certainty. I trust the unseen process. It is already done. Don't monitor, don't beg, don't waver. Know that the mechanism of manifestation is already in motion. Let the old reality dissolve as the new one takes shape. When doubt arises, go back to the inner scene, feel it again, and then return to your life as though it has already arrived. That is faith. That is alignment. That is mastery. Now comes perhaps the most liberating of them all. I am already what I want to be. So many seek to become, forgetting that the secret is in being, in identifying as already having, already knowing, already being the version of self that they dream about. Neville taught that desire is not something foreign to you. It's a signal from the version of yourself that already exists. The moment you imagine it, it's alive. Your task is not to chase it, but to embody it. I am already what I want to be. This affirmation bypasses struggle. It skips the long journey of becoming and goes straight to identity. You're not trying to get wealth. You are wealth in expression. You're not hoping for love. You are love realized in form. Every desire is a mirror, reflecting a higher version of you, and that version is already waiting for you to claim it. Not later, not someday, but now. When you affirm this truth, you break the cycle of unworthiness. You stop viewing yourself as separate from your desires and start realizing they have always been a reflection of what already lies within. The future self you admire is not an illusion. It is your true identity calling you back to remembrance. So speak it with knowing. I am already what I want to be. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. When you declare it, feel the shift in your posture, your tone, your energy. You are no longer someone who wants, you are someone who has. That state of being alters your thoughts, your emotions, and eventually your circumstances. Neville's entire teaching rests on this foundation: assumption, imagination, and inner conviction. These three affirmations unlock the spiritual mechanics of that process. First, you imagine. Then you trust. Finally, you become, or rather you remember that you always were. Imagination gives birth to form. Trust allows it to mature. Identity sustains it. When you carry these affirmations into your day, you carry more than words. You carry truth. You step into a new frequency of being, one that doesn't beg reality to change but commands it by the power of inner alignment. Let your imagination paint the world you choose to live in. Let trust remove the need for control. Let self-worth anchor your identity in truth. Because the moment you believe it fully, the world has no choice but to catch up. I am already what I want to be. This single affirmation carries the weight of an entire transformation. Neville Goddard taught that assumption is not a means to becoming, but the act of being. When you say these words, you do more than speak. You shift. You stop identifying with the version of yourself that lacks and begin identifying with the version that is complete. The dream is no longer something outside of you. It is you. It lives in you now. In this state, you dissolve the illusion of distance between who you are and who you desire to be. The desire itself is only a signal, a reminder from your higher self of what already belongs to you. Neville was clear, all states exist now. There is no process of evolution in consciousness. There is only selection. The state you occupy becomes your reality. And this selection is not passive. It is done with feeling, with repetition, with certainty. Self-worth, then, is not something to be earned. It is something to be remembered. You are already worthy. You are already capable. You are already the embodiment of your ideal. And the world does not grant you permission to become. Your assumption does. This is the secret of true manifestation. When you believe it within, the world must conform. There is no other law. You walk as though it's already yours, and reality adjusts itself accordingly. Then comes the profound power of revision. I revise what no longer serves me. The past is flexible. To most people, the past is a fixed story, something etched in time, untouchable and unchangeable. But Neville knew better. The mind is the author of experience, and as long as you carry the memory, you carry the power to change its effect. You don't need to relive the pain. You don't need to accept the limitation. You can rewrite it. Revision is not denial. It is decision. You decide what the past meant. You decide how it shaped you. You decide what version of the story you carry forward. The moment you change your perception, you change the future it would have produced. Every night you can take a memory that troubled you and see it differently. Hear the words you wished were said. Feel the support you didn't get. Change the ending. Relive it in imagination until the new version feels true. Neville shared stories of people who changed entire circumstances by altering a single moment in their memory. Jobs were restored, relationships healed, health improved, not by willpower, but by quietly selecting a different past. Why? Because consciousness is the only reality. And if your consciousness accepts a new version, reality must follow. The subconscious mind doesn't care if it's true. It accepts what you repeatedly feel to be true. So when you affirm, I revise what no longer serves me, you take control of your timeline. You reclaim the pen. You're not bound to childhood limitations, past failures, or regret. You are the operant power always. And your past, just like your future, bends to your assumption. Now we arrive at the affirmation that safeguards everything. I do not doubt. I return to the feeling, because no matter how strong your desire, how vivid your vision, or how powerful your assumption, there will be moments when the old reality whispers again. Doubt creeps in. Delay tempts you to give up. Appearances seem unchanging. And this is where most people waver. But Neville didn't say to fight doubt. He said to return to the feeling. That's the cure. Doubt is only a signal that you've shifted your state. You've left the end and returned to the middle. The answer is not to push harder. It's to go back to the scene. Feel it real. Step back into the wish fulfilled and rest there. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the law, and everything else is illusion. When you say, I do not doubt, you aren't pretending to never question. You're choosing not to remain there. You're choosing mastery over reaction. You're choosing faith, not in blind optimism, but in the power of your consciousness. Every time doubt rises, see it as an invitation, an opportunity to return. Feel it again. Hear the sounds of your fulfilled desire. Smile as if it were done, and watch how the fear loses its grip. Neville emphasized that persistence in the assumption will bring about the realization, not occasional belief, not temporary hope, but unwavering persistence through silence, through appearances, through contradiction. This is not resistance, it is confidence. And confidence does not beg, it walks forward, knowing that the inner state is the cause and the outer world is already catching up. I am already what I want to be. I revise what no longer serves me. I do not doubt. I return to the feeling. These affirmations, when felt, when believed, when lived, create a new life. Not through force, but through selection. Not through external struggle, but through inner certainty. Neville's gift was not in giving new teachings, but in reminding us of an ancient truth. You are the cause, you always were. And when you finally accept that truth, your world transforms. I allow good to flow to me. I expect blessings. This affirmation carries a quiet power. It is not loud. It does not demand. It simply opens. Neville Goddard often spoke of detachment, the ability to desire something, and then let go of the need to force its arrival. That is the secret most miss. The truth is, what you chase runs. What you rest in flows. When you expect blessings without effort, when you trust that what is yours is already on its way, you make space for it to enter. This is the nature of allowing a stillness of mind, a surrender of doubt, and a quiet knowing that life is always working with you, not against you. Neville taught that your inner conversations create your reality. So when your internal dialogue is saturated with permission to be loved, to prosper, to receive, then your external world must mirror that conversation. You do not have to deserve it. You already do. You do not have to struggle for it. It is already yours in consciousness. To allow good is not to be passive. It is to be aligned with the version of yourself that knows, I am blessed, I am favored, I live in ease. When this becomes the foundation of your self-concept, manifestation becomes natural. You do not need to work miracles. You only need to stop resisting them. You no longer measure your worth through effort. You understand that blessings flow when you feel safe enough to receive. When you declare, I allow good to flow to me, you are saying yes to a reality that has always wanted to reach you. And that yes must begin early, as the day begins. This morning, I choose a new identity. Every day you wake up is an invitation to become someone new, not through willpower, but through assumption. You are not locked into yesterday's story. You are not bound to the emotions of the past. Morning is the softest threshold, the border between sleep and waking, where the mind is most receptive. Neville often emphasized the power of this drowsy state. In this moment, your self-image is most pliable. So ask yourself, who do I want to be today? Not someday. Today. What does that version of me think, feel, assume, wear, radiate? Step into it. Don't wait for proof. Don't wait for the world to confirm. Be the confirmation. The old self will want to return. It will whisper fears and limitations, but you do not need to argue with it. Just gently replace it. Again and again, return to the chosen self. Not because you're forcing change, but because you're remembering who you truly are. Neville said, to be transformed, the whole basis of your thoughts must change. That transformation begins the moment you say, this morning I choose, not by reaction, but by intention. You are the writer. You are the director. You are not the echo of yesterday. You are the cause of today. And now take a deep breath. Inhale slowly and exhale gently. This breath is not just air. It is permission. It is grounding. It is the bridge between thought and embodiment. Allow the truth of these affirmations to settle in your body. Feel them. Don't repeat them like empty phrases. Absorb them like light. Let them melt into the spaces where fear once lived. Soft music surrounds you now. Let it hold you. Let it anchor you into this new state of being. This is not motivation. It is memory, the memory of your power, your truth, your right to shape life from within. Feel the calm certainty that everything you need is already within reach. Feel the release of resistance, the quiet strength of faith, the joy of expectancy. You do not need to do more. You need to be more. And you already are. Stay with this feeling. Let it expand. The affirmations you've just experienced are not tools. They are declarations of your identity. You are the operant power. You are the beginning and the end of every change you seek. And this moment, this breath, is where your new reality begins. You are the operant power. Nothing moves until you move within. Every thought you entertain, every word you speak, and every feeling you allow to dwell in your heart is shaping your world. This isn't philosophy. It's the quiet truth behind every change you've ever seen or longed for. You don't need permission. You don't need conditions. You only need to assume and persist. As you go forward into your day, carry this truth with you, not as a theory, but as a living presence in your mind. Walk with the certainty that your inner state is the cause. Speak from it. Think from it. Feel from it. That version of you who already has it, already is it. That's who you are now. Speak these affirmations off. Speak them with feeling. Speak them until they no longer feel like affirmations, but like facts. And each day you'll see your world shift quietly, naturally, beautifully, to match the new story you've chosen. If this message resonated with you, let it live on. Like this video, subscribe to Ignis Mindset, and join us again tomorrow for your next dose of clarity, power, and transformation. You're not here by accident. You're here because it's time.